Hello, good morning, guten tag for all the Chinese people out there. How are we doing this morning? It is 9 o'clock on the 13th day of February, year of our Lord 2025. That is Huddie. This is Dom, which is me, which is I. It's a beautiful Thursday. We're all snowed in over here in the Midwest. Got a lot of snow last night. It is still snowing. The schools are closed, but you know what's not closed, Huddie?
Markets.
The markets.
But they will be closed Monday.
Yeah,
right?
that's tomorrow's issue to talk about.
Okay.
But it's President's Day.
Ones?
But yeah, had a great Wine Wednesday last night. The whole gang was here. You guys were rocking and rolling in the live chat. Gave away a few boot camps. Was awesome. Was a lot of fun. I love raffle nights. Raffle. Spin that wheel. Another Fran won a ticket. And it was a great time. You can always rewatch those Wine Wednesday episodes. If you're driving and you like listening to podcasts, you're like, I really just want to listen to the Clovers talk all the time. You go to playlists on our live channel. I mean, on our, you go to our channel, Clover Trading, and then you go to playlist and you can see all the Wine Wednesdays, as well as the Good Morning Nasdaqs. I don't know how much you want to rewatch those just because they're kind of time sensitive, but a lot of the Wine Wednesdays are just Q&A. How are we doing this morning, Huddie?
It's what is it? It's Thursday. I feel like the market kind of picked up this week, so I'm not bored, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Kind of excited for the weekend. We got Valentine's Day tomorrow. We got the weekend. Exciting stuff here in February. It's a shorter month. If you guys don't remember, it is. And so we're about halfway through when we get to tomorrow, which is crazy to say.
Yeah,
That's not really anything about my feelings, but that's what I'm thinking right now.
that's just what it is, huh?
Mhm.
All right, we got a couple gappers. I saw one big one and then a couple others, and saw some familiar names. AIFF, MGOL, so we can maybe hit on those as well. Dom H looks like a gapper, so a lot of recent movers still moving, still gappulating. But here on Good Morning Nasdaq, we like to talk about the biggest percent gappers every morning. We talk about why they're up, what's going on with their share structure, what's the catalyst. Do they have any dilution? And we talk about the daily chart. So let's do that right now. So if you're new, you can kind of see what that's all about. PEV.
Pev. That's a
PEV.
gapper.
Phoenix Motor, auto manufacturer in the United States with a 27 mil float. Looks like they are a pioneer in the electrical vehicle industry. That's crazy. They're pioneers. I never heard of them.
You never heard of a pioneer?
I never heard of them
Okay,
as a pioneer.
gotcha.
Do you see any other news besides 7 days ago? Because I don't see anything.
Let me check my resources here.
Looks like a 10Q was filed on 2/11. That was 2 days ago. Okay. They got like nothing going on. Cash department, negative cash, negative 3.4 months. They got not registered. Some warrants at $1.30. It's a little high. $1.30 is a little high. Cool. Okay, it's not the greatest potential to dilute right now, although they could use it. 27 mil float. Not a catalyst that I'm seeing right off the bat here. As we head on over to the daily chart, we can see that PEV back in October of last year had a pretty good sized gap up from the 30s to the 80s. Ended up holding all day and then going higher the next day. So a little bit of precedent of multi-day movement there. Let's go back further on the chart, see if we see anything. Hasn't been around all that long, but has been a top left to bottom right type of fading chart. Lower high, lower high, lower high. So that resistance from October is really probably the most important thing. We're just kind of getting to the base of that resistance right now, near 70 cents. Up 139% right now. What do you think, Huddie?
Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing too crazy dilution wise. We have a couple gaps in the past that have kind of gone up and come back down and closed illiquidly, awkwardly in the middle. Um, it's not a good company. It's got some overhead resistance. I'm kind of I'm not dealing with all the information that you just went over, but I'm not afraid of this one, is what I would say. But I also just don't think motor companies are very good companies that are 60 cents.
You don't think they're
So
pioneers?
I don't think I think they're late pioneers. They're like the fifth round of pioneers, you know.
Is that a thing?
Uh,
I think it's just the first.
I think they're abusing the word pioneer. Yeah. No, it's having some fun with it, you know, whether it goes up, whether it goes down, no clue. Honestly, like there's nothing that really makes me super bearish or super bullish. This price range has been hot. This price range has traded a lot of volume this week. Um, let's see if PEV kind of bucks that trend and keeps it going, or if this is just, you know, horse manure. It could
Yeah,
be.
for reference on that, and just trying to be aware of small little random things that are hot in the market. And price range seems to be something that I don't remember thinking a whole lot about in my early stage of my career, but it was probably happening. But we have definitely noticed, as we primarily trade listed stocks now, like the cheaper stocks, when they're active, when they're hot, when they're gapping up. We had MGOL earlier this week from the cheapy range. We had TIVC yesterday have kind of a gap into all this resistance, held strong throughout the day, and then gapped up into this morning, into after hours yesterday, into this morning. And that was from the 40-50 cent area. And then today with PEV, kind of a similar one, with it gapping from the 20s up into the 60s right now, and is your leading gap of the day. Another thing about kind of hot sectors, hot price ranges, is that they tend to cool off as time goes on. As people kind of are more aware of it, it gets crowded to one side or the other, and the moves get a little less and a little less. You know, MGOL was a 3-day run. TIVC is on day 2 here, so we'll see how that goes. But even CYN, I believe, is one, and Omega. There's a few that we had this week in the lower price department that made some gaps. And we'll see. What was it? PEV? Yeah, I kind of agree with Huddie. There's nothing here where I'm like, it's definitely going to fail. It's definitely going to succeed. I think it will
All I
all
can tell
come
you is
down.
that they have a need for cash, but not a whole lot of dilution, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
That's the issue I see on it. They have negative cash, so the overall risk is high, but the ability to actually do anything about it today is low. So I do expect, as it runs into this resistance, if it were to go 80 cents to $1, it should run into a lot of that resistance, have difficulty. But the same could be said for TIVC yesterday, into the 65-cent area. It did end up holding and coming back down, but it then held the next resistance level as support, and then gapped up in after hours. So we shall see on PEV, but that is your biggest gap for the day, up 133%. Last night we gave away a couple tickets to the Bootcamp in March next month, the 22nd through 24th in Los Angeles. That will be the only raffle that we do for that. So if you missed it, I'm sorry. We've been talking about it for the last week. Make sure you're always following us on socials. But if you want access and come hang out with us in person at the live in-person boot camp in California, you can check the description here on this video and go to clovertrain.io and check out tickets. And if it's something that interests you, if you have any questions, reach out to us as well.
I
But
also want to mention that like this could be the last time we're on the West Coast for many years. I would say like, multiple years, because if we're only doing one a year, and if this year's West Coast, we're not going to be on the West Coast next year. I mean, odds are we're probably back on the East Coast, New York, Miami, one of those, to show some love over there. So if you are on the West Coast, I would think about that.
yeah, that's a good point. We do love our East Coast time zone when it comes
It's a
to
little tougher on the West.
it's a little tougher. We like Arizona and stuff, but it's early mornings. Okay. We'll do EDSA really quickly, then we'll take some questions about some of the tickers.
EDSA.
Is that not a ticker?
EDSA, fine. Fine.
It says it's up 70%.
Fine.
EDSA, where are you? There you are. Biotech with the 2.8 million float out of Canada 2 hours ago. They announced a $15 million private placement priced at the market under NASDAQ rules. Huddie, explain to all of us in our beginner minds how what looks to be dilution is gapping the stock up 70%.
Give me a sec. Let me check it out. You just keep reading through the stuff. I haven't done any research.
2 million float, offering building medium. Overall risk is high. Cashing, they only have 1.9 months of cash left. It's a $3 stock right now. All these warrants are way too high priced. They have an ATM from October of last year worth almost $4 million. They replaced that one. Replaced. Termination. Okay. So a little bit of an ATM. And whatever they did 2 hours ago. That it's sold in private placement in aggregate 834 newly designed Series B1 convertible shares and 3.4 million common shares. What'd you say?
Yeah, I see what they entered into securities purchase agreement on February 12th, 2025 to issue Series B1 convertible preferred shares and common shares. They raised approximately $15 million. I consider that a red flag. It says the registration statement for the resale of the shares and conversion shares is expected to be filed within 30 days after the closing date and become effective no later than 75 days after the closing date. So seems like it's not necessarily today or tomorrow. It says that they plan to file the registration within 30 days. So it sounds like, yeah, they have these ways to make money and they have to register the shares within the next 30 days. So it's not necessarily dilutive right this second. If that is my opinion, and anyone should fact check me. I'm just reading what I see.
Yeah, would the bullish perspective just be that they now have the money to fund their phase 2, which is what they want, and that looks to be like a good thing?
They lose about 6.2 million a year. So 15 million is not going to last them too long.
Dude, they're a biotech. They just got to stay alive.
Plans to seek additional financing in the next 12 months. They have an at-the-market offering that is ongoing, concurrent. And they had another offering back in October with warrants. So, you also have a stock that historically closes red a lot. So I'm thinking this is a gap and crap in my mind. I just wish it was gapping up a little bit more so that it would come into my world. But if you're going back on like the long-term daily chart, you're going to start to see a lot of times where this thing gaps up and fails. So I don't really consider any of this news bullish. I think putting money in the bank is probably good, but it's only 1 year's worth. And they're going to have to do it again. So rinse, wash, repeat the cycle, do a reverse split, pump it back up, get another PR going, and then dump it on the retail is kind of how I see it. One of these runs might hold around longer than expected, but for the most part, it looks like 80% of the time it ends with a red wick to the sky and falls back down to the earth.
Yeah, a lot of that higher volume movement is from many years ago. It hasn't done a whole lot recently. I got to go back like 2 years to get one decent volume spike, and that was really just the day in which it spiked, gave it all back, and ended up going lower in the coming weeks. At the end of last year, looks like it just kind of fell off a cliff and rolled over down from the 4s to the 1s, and now we're just gapping up into kind of that area right now, up 65%. The news is what it is, but it's not buzzwordy. It's not like a hot sector, a hot name, a hot company. There's nothing really there. Not really all that bullish, although it is a clean chart with what I think to be a little resistance overhead. But, it's not up a ton either, up at 67%. So kind of 50-50 here. Not really all that interested in logging day ones that are just right out of the gate. And for shorting them, I'd prefer they be up enough to where it kind of feels like it's difficult to sustain. I kind of feel like this is a no man's land here where anything wouldn't surprise me with a 2.8 million float and $3. So not a ton of overhead resistance. A history of failing years ago. News is whatever. And a lowish float. So we'll see what EDSA does today. A lot of questions this morning about M goal. Someone asked about thoughts for a first green day. Is it too big of a gap up? Just thoughts someone wants. So let's see. Thoughts as it relates to being a first green day is not going to happen. Yeah, you kind of have a close yesterday in the low to mid 40s, coming from a high of 75, 76, and we're gapping to 63. The first green day has come and gone for me here with 13 minutes to go till the open. That's, especially when we talk about a cheaper stock, pretty significant move, 46 to 63, 64. I think it was up in the 70s yesterday and today as well. This kind of starts to enter into breakout territory. I think in the room yesterday, Kyle was talking about it. They voted on the merger or something. Information that I think was already out there. And it's gapping up into after hours yesterday into this morning. Yeah, from a first green day perspective, it fits the bill, but it's already kind of done it. And it's already done it on decent volume. It's not like it just kind of ripped there for a second and it came back down to where it closed yesterday. It's already done 43 million, which is almost as much as it did all day yesterday in the after hours and pre-market. So yeah, I think the next play is a potential breakout here, which I don't know how interested I am on this gap up day to be doing so, but volume will tell the story. It's got a great history of multi-day runs, but I do think this is a turd, and the longer that turds hold up, sometimes we can get more sketchy news to kind of kill it. I don't know. Are you looking at this for a short, Huddie? For what do you call it?
I think there's a couple conflicting patterns here that could neutralize it a little bit. On one hand, I think it's a bounce short, and I think it's a turd. On one hand, I think it's a first green day and potentially a breakout. So there's a little bit of conflicting patterns right there because I'm bullish and bearish. So I'm probably just going to ignore it until as close to the end of day as possible and see if it's kind of obvious writing on the wall type of thing of which direction it really wants to go. It has kind of acted that way every day that it was bullish for those 3 days that it was going up. So I don't think there's any rush to be involved, especially right here at 62 cents. It's 10 cents to the upside, 10 cents to the downside. I don't think there's any reason to be in right now and really have any conviction when I'm in. They still have dilution. They start merging with a company. The story hasn't changed. They could use this gap up to dilute, so I'm not bullish, but I'm also not necessarily trying to hunt a stock at 62 cents for the next 5 days. I'm for the most part, I'm done trading it. I traded it once or twice. I have a small red on it. I don't need that in my life. And I will check on it at the end of the day because it is in play. It is very active. I want to be bullish on this chart because I think it could squeeze some people. But I'm not going to front run it. I'm just going to wait till the end of the day. That's my synopsis.
Yeah, that's what I kind of think is that I will let it do whatever it wants to do for at least till 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern today. And if it's setting itself up as doing 500 to 800 million of volume and it's, doing what the 3 days that it gapped up look like, which is a green candle with some tight consolidation, then I will probably look to take it for a breakout and be just on top of it in after hours and pre-market in case any news comes out. But it's I'm not
just be definitely be careful because I think they are in the process of they have an S1 and I've heard down the wire that there's an offering coming. So with that information, do with what you will. That's just a rumor that I hear. Doesn't have to come, or it could come. Again, it's a 62 cent stock for a reason, so just don't be surprised if it does.
Yeah, we'll see. Interested to see how it plays out, though. What do you guys think about XLO on the short side? I don't think anything of it. It was kind of a failed day one gap and crap. It didn't really go up, didn't really fade. It just kind of ended up closing right around where it gapped to, and that's where we are right now. This isn't like we don't trade these off of like first red days where it went from 60 cents to $1.70, but it really, yesterday's price action was kind of just sideways. It had one big spike to set the gap, and then it's been really just sideways. Could come back down. Could slowly trend higher. I don't know. But today, after day one gappers, I tend to leave them alone the next day.
Yeah, this is not my favorite price range for the gap and craps. The dollar area, I just feel like there's a lot of incentive for these stocks to kind of hold a buck. And I see it happen more often than not. Not sure if it's recency bias or if it's rooted in fact, but I just don't like the dollar area in general. And then I also don't love the float structure on this one as a short seller. So I am still short this from yesterday, and I'm just excited to just cover it up and move on with my life. I will not be giving this any more attention. It's kind of on the side. It'll just live its best life. I think it's going to become very illiquid and just kind of either crawl back up into the 150s or crawl back down into the 130s. And I don't expect much range, right? Like this thing is just stuck.
Okay. Hit that thumbs up button for us, guys. Only 27 likes this morning. Would appreciate that number getting a little higher up here as we close out the show. It's 9:22. Goodness gracious.
We got to go.
Looking for more tickers, but you guys are not. You guys are really just talking, having a good time when they're hanging out. Like I said, Bootcamp tickets are available. You got a little over a month to get involved there. 2 levels of pricing, regular Bootcamp ticket or VIP. Check out the link in the description if you want more information on what that entails. But what it really entails is just hanging out with us for 3 to 4 days in a row and having a great time.
They not like us.
No one likes us?
I said they not like us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Whatever. But it's Thursday. We're going to head over to the room. You got a webinar today, Huddie, at 11 a.m. And then we'll do one more show tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel to close out another week, halfway point in February. So let's close the week strong. Let's close the month strong. And let's just be strong. Okay, everybody? Right, Huddie?
Strong.
Be strong, everybody. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you in the morning. And stay safe out there.